Are these anything?
Don't cut that.
No? All right. I don't know. I'm just asking.
We're going to start these stairs back by building the platform that was in the corner where the stairs made a 90-degree turn. Now, if we were trying to make these stairs better by giving the full 81 inches clear of headroom by code, that's what you're supposed to have, we would need to do some winder steps, like some pie-shaped steps, so that you would continue dropping over this area and have the headroom. That said, there's nothing else that really meets code about the stairwell, including the width of it. And it's not an egress. And there's another set
There is another staircase.
Yes.
Actually, I think you can do whatever you want if you have another one. That's
yes.
good.
So
Maybe.
because of all of those reasons, we're just going to put it back similar-ish to what it was.
So 110 is what we're going to go for.
We've measured the height we need to get up to that floor and the length we have till we hit our landing here to figure out how many treads and risers. So it turns out we have room for about 11 steps with about an 8-inch rise and a 10-inch flat, like run. Okay. Right there's good, Jay. In order to make sure we build this platform the right height and make all the steps the correct height the first time, Jamie and Jason have created this story pole, giving us the exact heights of all of the steps. The Advantex is going to go on the steps, and the finished tread. You got it all figured out?
It's a great story. The stick is telling. My kids will love it. It'd make a good nighttime book. Ray and I double teamed cutting these pieces out, and it's great because once you get to the end and somebody's following behind you, it's like done and you don't have to start over again. But what can be hard is if someone's using a handsaw and like just totally like the board's like going like this, and here you are trying to cut a shallow angle entry cut and keep it right on the line, and somebody's just shaking that thing.
The reason Ray's following with this jigsaw is so that Jamie doesn't overcut with the circular saw and cause this little bit left here to be even less strong than it already is.
Right.
That's a problem. So usually stop short on these, even though it's like not visible, just to prevent the little weakening. I'm turning it into Jamie a little bit.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you.
So these two on the outside are going to be screwed into studs, okay? So that's going to add a lot of strength back. But if you had a set of stairs that was hanging just out in the open for whatever reason, I would take material and add back to the sides of these, like both sides, all the way down like one continuous piece to strengthen that bit that's left even more. One more question.
Well, so this is my second go of layout here because I kind of messed up the first time.
Okay.
You weren't supposed to see that. As the stringer sits, the top of this framing represents the finished floor on our layout stick, all right?
Oh.
So that's good though, because we're gonna stick it in and it will show us where
Should
everything's
flush out
finishing
up top.
out. And then we will take a cut off the bottom to drop it for the thickness of our sub tread and the finished tread. And then we'll take a cut off that end to move it towards the door
For
to
the riser.
account for the sub riser and the riser. So this in its rough form represents the finished surfaces of all this system.
So this pipe is looking exactly where the stringer's got to go.
I don't know how in the world.
Maybe it went around the stringer. I don't know. We're going to find out in a second.
Okay.
I wasn't paying
Let's
attention.
bring it in here. Probably
Yes.
straight up here, right?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Jono, lift your side and just see if it'll go on the other side of that thing. I think it's literally...
Oh, I don't like that.
That's the way it was
like
plumbed.
it.
Yeah, they plumbed it right around that thing. We've got the stringer held in place here, and this is what we're going to check, is that we're at the right height there, the right length here, and also that these are
That's
level.
about where it goes.
Okay, do you guys do deck repair?
No. We really just do new construction.
He's lying.
Just really.
We're fitting this stringer and something is off. We're like 3/4 of an inch has magically appeared that wasn't there before. And we're like, what the heck? So we got the little line laser
I know what to do.
and shot the height of the floor here and the height of the floor over there. And it's like 3/4 of an inch different.
I know what to do.
It's higher over there.
I just had this idea came
Okay.
in my head. Instead of cutting it off the bottom because that screws everything up,
Yeah.
we just literally need to go from the top where it's right
Yeah.
and just level by level mark each tread to come down and take 3/4 out distributed.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Okay.
That'll be it. We'll save the stringer.
Okay. We're running out of steam and out of time, but Jared, A-team of Morgan's Electrical is here, and Jamie just gave him this rundown about the wiring that was ridiculous. Basically, there's a mess. Jared's going to try to fix it.
Ridiculous is interchangeable with really good.
Okay. We're back at the job this morning. We're going to fix this stair stringer that was messed up yesterday because of the different heights of the floor down here we weren't
Yeah.
aware of. What are you going to do?
Well, I know this is really sad, but I did this on purpose so that we could demonstrate what would happen to somebody that didn't really know what they were doing
Okay.
and they were in this situation. I'm using scraps here to simulate my finished materials. I've got my 1-inch finished tread here. I've got my sub tread of Advantech. I've got my finished floor on the platform. I'm supposed to have 8 inches right here. Is it close?
Looks like 9.
Looks more like 9. So the problem is I need to lose an inch. Where do I lose it? That's the question. I can't take it off the bottom. Well, that would be the easiest thing because then all the steps would slope.
They'd all be lean.
It'd be easier coming down.
So
right.
I'm going to go ahead and say I think we need to take a little bit off of each one, like a 16th, an 1/8, 3/16
Yes.
quarter, 5/16, 3/8, like
So on and so forth. Exactly. So we're going to do that progressively. And then in the end, actually what we can go ahead and do is mark an inch
Yep.
on the top that we're taking off. All right. And then, just like you described. And then we take this outside and trace it for our pattern. And then we got 3 that are identical. And then we're in business.
all right, we'll be done with these stairs by next week.
So this one will be like almost 5/8, almost 3/4. I'll just do that. Should I do that?
You're asking the wrong guy. He's just staring back at you like
All right.
blankly.
I did half, so I'm going to do
Does he know who he's talking to?
almost 5/8.
I was like, are you asking me or are you just talking out loud?
He's just talking to himself. You're just
This
standing
one
here.
is adding an 1/8.
All of our tape measures here in the U.S. are divided into 16ths of an inch. What we really need to make this work out perfect is 1/10 of an inch off per step, which none of our tapes have that. So we're gonna, go 3/32.
We need an engineer's rule.
Or we need an engineer's rule. This isn't a bad way to do it because now using a level to mark these, we know they're going to be dead level each tread.
That's pretty nice, actually.
Is that to mark?
What if you just cut the ends of a stringer and didn't make any of the actual cuts and just marked with a level each one?
If you could just
I've
fit
never
the
done that, but
ends-
that's an idea.
No, it would be a little more foolproof, actually, I think. Just use a laser and just like get a good starting point or
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done it that way, but that's basically what
We
we're
might
doing.
have to build these again after we're done, just to try that.
We don't even know if this is going to work. To verify that we did this correctly, I'm actually going to measure at our new cut locations and make sure that we have 8 inches from each line to the one that's going to be cut at below it. And we did check the whole thing, and now they are all the same. And I think we can cut it now.
All right. Today's video is brought to you by AG1, and AG1 is a whole body foundational nutrition supplement. What does that mean? Well, you can get 75 vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, and whole food source superfoods all in one daily scoop. I just mix my scoop of powder with 6 or 8 ounces of water in the morning, drink it once a day, that's it. Now follow me here for a second. Let's juxtapose your body for a drag race car. And the fuel for your body is food, and the fuel for the drag car is whatever they use. It's not regular gas. It's like top fuel. I think it's called top fuel. So if you just put regular fuel in a dragster and expect to win, you're not gonna win. You may not even get off the starting line. And if you just put regular, not that great food in your body without the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that your body needs, your body will also be last place. So for people that are trying to push their body, like myself with work and exercise, and go the extra mile and still feel good at the end of the day, AG1 makes all the difference. AG1 is research backed and it's also NSF certified, which means that it's third party tested to make sure that each scoop contains all of the things that the back of the can says it contains, and is trusted by endurance athletes around the world. I include AG1 as part of my routine because I want to feel like my body has full power, if you will, every day. That's important to me. And if you want to try it out, AG1 would love to give you a special offer by the link in our video description or the QR code on the screen. They'll give you a year's supply of D3K2. That's a vitamin, comes in a little dropper, and also 5 free travel packs. So thank you again to AG1 for sponsoring our video. I'd really recommend it. Let's get back to work.
I do have to tell a short story. One time I built a staircase, it was all one straight run, and I had the same problem, except it was 1.5 inches wrong, which is worse than this. And it was a really tall one, actually, taller than most. And I had already installed all 3 stringers, and they were not gonna come out. I wasn't gonna be able to do this on a sawhorse. So I literally marked each one in place on all of them and cut them out in place before we had the little buzz saws.
Oscillating tools?
Yeah,
What did you use?
I think I did it with a handsaw and a chisel. It took
really enjoyed it.
I think it took a whole day just to correct it. But then when I got done, I was like, man, it's right. And I know it's right. And I was happy. So, you know, lesson learned. I'm still learning it.
We got our stringer fixed up, and now we're tracing it onto another board so that we can have this exact same thing again. We're gonna cut it 2 more times.
So I'm attaching the stringer to the wall with these big lags. And the reason why we're having to use such big lags is because we have this 2x4 spacer back there. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us room to put our finished material back there so that you don't have to cut your finished material around all the stringers. So it's going to slide back in there. Perfect.
It's pretty much madness to try and cut around these if you've never had to do that. Little pro tip here, cutting these stringers out, is not to knock out the piece before you do the final cut with the handsaw, because this kerf will act like a guide for the handsaw, keeping it right in place.
It does.
Yeah.
A little bit of that. A little bit of that.
Yep. And if that chunk is gone, you kind of use your hand to kind of pinch the blade tight and keep it from jumping off your little piece you're trying to set out of the corner.
This handsaw, I really had to select one that would fit inside the kerf of a very small, thin blade. Did you know that? All right, these 6.5-inch blades we use all the time, they have a super thin kerf. And you got to be careful about what kind of handsaw you buy, because the kerf of the handsaw will actually be wider than the width of your kerf on your circular saw. And in that case, you can't use it to shove down in there and cut these cuts out. But I do like that this is like exactly the same width.
First world
So it
problems
just
right here.
lines up just
My
so
saw
nice.
don't fit my curve cut.
Well, hey, let me tell you, when you do this enough times, you start to see the little things that just drive you nuts. For example, if you use like a really thin Japanese blade, like a pole saw, those blades are so thin that you're going to be cutting on one side or the other of your kerf, and there might be material left on your finished piece that you don't want there.
Oh my gosh.
You all right, bro?
It's mining.
Who knocked it off?
I did when I yanked it.
That's what she said.
All right, check the very top step to see if side to side it is level or whatever's the highest step you can get to. If you have to come down 1 or 2, that's okay too.
Wow. That's complicated.
Sure.
That's level. We're going to make this turn. You need to move that light.
I think I need to go up as I go in.
Oh my gosh.
Lights.
You good?
Coffee. Watch the coffee.
I don't know if I'm going to fit between these, Jono. Barely. Okay, can you hold it right there? I like that pretty good. We've got a bunch of marks here. We're trying to figure out how far out do we come before we go down with this set of steps, and it's very complicated. To make it as least complicated as possible, what we're gonna do, instead of trying to do like open treads with returns on the treads and a finished skirt board, and then mounting a post somehow that then turns the corner and is the railing and the guard for both of these sections, I mean, you're talking tons of thinking, tons of precise work, like almost too much for me to even think about. So we called the homeowner, told him that. So we decided to just build a sloped wall. It's going to come up here on the side of this, and it's going to come up here on the side of this to be the guard. Then you can just attach a handrail to that wall for the handrail.
I know you're talking for a long time here, but it's actually making me think it's going to be less time in the finish work because there won't be any exposed ends of the tread.
Yeah,
like
no
a return.
tread with returns. All that stuff takes
None of that.
mega time, mega
Yes.
precision to look good.
Wall, drywall, just a piece of trim on top, and a handrail
Yeah.
installed.
Yeah. Now, the easiest thing if you're going to do a railing like that is to just screw pickets straight to the side of the stringers, let them run up, put a railing on that. But that doesn't look right inside. What looks right inside is to have the tread sticking off an inch on this end and then have the pickets coming down into the tops of those treads. That's kind of like how you do a normal staircase. And that is, like, again, super time consuming to get it all figured out. Also, I've got to mention, we are taking into consideration where the existing flooring is. Because if we move this wall too far over, there's going to be this concrete bit showing. And we don't really want the homeowner to have to figure out if he has more of these tiles or patch that in. So that was the final consideration for placement and the use of these half walls and all that.
Can you just say that again, but just like with less words, please?
So typically we do like to install these sub risers before the sub treads so that the treads overlap the top of them. I just think that's better. You don't have this gap on top of the tread. What do you think?
I think a lot of people screw up steps. And I mean, even we're struggling to think about this. You know, sitting here trying to figure it out for a while, and I think your average person, like a DIY kind of deal, would...
It'd be tough. We got 4 seasoned builders here, or maybe 3.
Yeah, definitely. don't lump me into that.
We're still just frying our brains. There's smoke coming out our ears here.
Better call the fire department. One thing I see almost every time I take steps apart is this part of the stringer being cracked and useless because the fastener's gone into it and it's split it in half, and now it's not no holding power. So we are using the Lexel to give it a little more grab and holding power. In the case that it ever did split, it's still like stuck together. But I am very strategic about the way that I put in the screws that I'm using in an effort not to split this thing from the get-go, right? So like where you might just drive 2 straight in, I don't do that. And I don't drive any close to the top where this is the most fragile.
Yeah.
I come in a little bit lower and I come in at an angle. And then the other one I'll put in at an opposite angle because the more wedges you drive in the same grain area, it's going to pry it apart. But if you cross them up, it'll hold them together.
No, I agree with you on that. How's that screw tasting, bud?
Yum, yum. Vanilla.
Strawberries on sign.
Make sure you offset it a little bit, but angle it back too, but not too high. It's just got to go right in the right. He just called me a micromanager.
That's definitely not what I called you.
We're going to show you how we install one of our treads here. This we would actually call a sub tread because the tread is actually the finished piece. Jason's adding an ample amount of Lexel to the surfaces here to stick it all together and also create a little bit of a cushion in between the pieces. We're going to apply some to the back edge of this piece of Advantech also. Anything that we can do that we think will help prevent a squeak, we will do. And so once that's stuck down, he's going to put some screws in it. You can see that he's going to screw into that front edge of the riser or the sub riser, that piece of 2x4, and really lock that part together. That's where most of your stepping action is going to happen. All right, and it's cool. You get to walk up the steps one at a time as you build them.
My stairs at home, like almost every single step creaks more than squeaks. Like. And also, if you're wondering, the termites we saw out here, we kind of think are an unrelated issue to what we're dealing with inside. And he's got a guy for that. He's got like a pest control termite killer guy. He's gonna come out, do whatever he needs to do to get rid of those termites. We're not gonna do anything about it.
No, we don't need to tear any other part of this apart right now. I'm gonna let that be.